Coming up on this edition of the News at Rider, the Gift of Life Foundation sponsors a bone marrow drive.
And students prepare to elect their class and SGA leaders to represent them for the next 12 months.
Stay tuned for the News at Rider. Housing is becoming an increasingly important issue to Rider students, especially with housing selection for the Lawrenceville campus occurring earlier this week. Kelly Dixon investigated how it is affecting the students on the Westminster campus.
Students often seem to forget that Lawrenceville is not Rider's sole stomping ground, but its campus extends into Princeton to house the Westminster Choir College. I wanted to see how Rider's recent changes to the housing policy might or might not affect the students on the Westminster campus.
The Westminster housing policy is a little bit different than Lawrenceville. We do require our first and second year students to live on campus, so that's different. There is that requirement that they live on campus unless they live within 20 miles of campus with their primary family.
Students on the Westminster campus who paid their rooming deposit on time will have the ability to squat their rooms. Squatting your rooms means having the choice to remain in the same room as the previous year. Students wishing to change rooms will take part in regular rooming selection on April 17th. Students and staff shared with us their opinions of the Westminster housing situation.
Well, I think it's funny that we require all freshmen and sophomores to live on campus because there isn't enough on-campus housing for incoming freshmen and sophomores. So we end up throwing 3 people in rooms that were meant for 2 people, and I think that's a little ridiculous.
I really tried to keep our students very well in the loop about what was happening with housing, the fact that upper class students would be able to get housing. I think a lot of them actually assumed that they wouldn't, so I had to let them know otherwise, saying, no, deposit, there will be space for upper class students this year.
For the News at Rider, this has been Kelly Dixon.
For more information about Westminster housing, students can contact Laura Seplaki at extension 8262.
And continuing on the housing issue, the Lawrenceville campus held its long-awaited housing lottery for next year. I was there to catch all the festivities. Students compiled into the Cavallo room in hopes that their numbers would be called.
I'm very nervous.
I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm not really sure what the rules are. So therefore, I have no idea what's going on. So we're nervous.
This year, the lottery system is a bit different than past years.
In the past, we literally pulled the bingo ball out, and it was more a matter of the luck of the draw within certain ranges. But this year, it's really just the highest number works its way down, and when every single option has been chosen, the night is over.
Although it is different, Pollock believes that it is more precise and that it still favors upperclassmen.
It still does give priority to rising seniors and rising juniors and then combinations of both class years, which is the point. We want upperclassmen in the premium spaces.
Another lottery will be held for standard doubled rooms for any students that did not receive premium housing.
Came here looking for a place to live. I don't know, maybe.
The intention for us was to get a place to live. That's what we were looking for, and basically that's what we got. We got the 5-person, which was awesome because it's what we were hoping for as the top one. So we got it. Yay.
They just didn't call our number.
We really wanted priority housing because we were going to be seniors, and we thought it was only fair that it was our turn because we've been in a double every single year. Yeah. And we really wanted a 4-person apartment or suite, and we got it.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I feel homeless.
Another lottery will be held for standard double rooms for any students that did not receive premium housing. Students with questions or concerns regarding housing can contact Stephanie Pollock at extension 7304.
This Tuesday, Hillel participated in a bone marrow drive with the Gift of Life Foundation. Garrett Williams was on hand to learn more about the foundation and bone marrow transplants.
The Gift of Life organization and Riders Hillel have teamed up to sponsor bone marrow testing in the SRC lobby.
Today in the SRC, Hillel was busy registering students to participate in this year's Bone Marrow Drive. The drive, which sponsored by the Gift of Life Bone Marrow Foundation, were seeking to find new donors within the Rider community.
Well, I'm a little nervous about the process just because you have to dedicate some time, and afterwards they said you have to ask for some time off from doing things. So, but if I were a match, it'd be a really nice thing to help someone out.
The process of bone marrow testing is very simple. Just a cotton swab from the inside of your cheek is needed to determine the tissue type in order to find a perfect match. During the drive, I had the opportunity to speak with the advisor of Hillel about how they got involved with co-sponsoring this event with the Gifted Life Foundation.
There's a child in my synagogue who needs a bone marrow transplant, and so the synagogue did a bone marrow transplant, and then members of the synagogue contacted their kids in colleges around the country and took on a fundraising drive, and in 2 or 3 weeks they raised $90,000 from places all over the country doing these drives, and they also wanted to have people at universities sponsor a bone marrow donor registration. So I'm the advisor to Hillel, and I went to Hillel and said, is this a project you want to take on? And they said that they did.
So remember, it only takes one person to save a life, and that could be you. From the SRC, this is Garrett Williams, Channel 20, News at Ryder.
For more information about the Gift of Life Foundation and bone marrow transplants, students can visit their website at www.giftoflife.org.
Community service is important to many organizations on Ryder's campus. Protestant Campus Ministries is one of those organizations. Kelly Dixon has more.
Spring has sprung on Ryder's campus, and Protestant Campus Ministries hosted an Easter egg hunt in the spirit of Easter.
I think it gives them an awareness of Easter and a great way to be able to celebrate it just before their spring break and stuff. And it just gives them a time of fellowship and being able to connect with other people and just have a lot of fun.
Children from Trenton Samaritan Baptist Church attended the event, where they not only hunted for eggs, but also enjoyed some great food, dyed Easter eggs, made palm crosses, and much, much more. Other student groups from around campus came out in support of the event.
We usually get a pretty good turnout. A lot of the fraternities and sororities, Sigma Phi Epsilon is here today. So yeah, it's always a real pleasure to see all the different students and fraternities and sororities all come together and help out.
Although the egg hunt was the main event, some children were more concerned with other issues.
We're going to eat? What are we going to eat?
For the News at Ryder, this has been Kelly Dixon.
If you would like to get more involved with PCM or with other community services in general, come out to Earth Day celebration on April 19th.
Cell phones. Who doesn't use theirs on an everyday basis? Further yet, who these days doesn't own one? Today's society strives for convenience and the quickest way out. Cell phones are one, if not the most acquired objects to aid in this progression. All the while, individuals are on cliff's edge when they take the technological advancement too far. Nearly 2 trillion text messages were sent in 2007, many of which the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety believes are correlated and have ultimately caused a majority of car crashes, resulting in serious injury and fatality. The handheld use of an electronic communication device while driving causes the user to be inattentive with their hands as well as with their eyes and mind. Driver inattention is among the top 5 causes of today's accidents. In New Jersey alone, 3,580 accidents involving cell phones were documented in 2006. The state of New Jersey believes that a mass amount of accidents can be prevented if drivers abstain from the use of cell phones while operating their motor vehicles. New Jersey's Governor John Corzine has signed into law Bill S-1009, amending the prior allowance of cell phone usage while driving. The law took effect only a few weeks ago on Saturday, March 1st. Captain Albert Delafave of the New Jersey State Police Headquarters reports within the first weekend, approximately 100 summonses were issued for the violation on the Garden State Parkway alone. He says although there is discretion surrounding the matter, warnings will continue to be rare.
Again, full enforcement of the cell phone ban. We really didn't give any warnings, and we did not direct our troopers that they should give warnings. For the simple fact that over a good 3-month period, we've been doing a media blitz, hitting newspapers, radio, and TV to notify the motoring public that this change is coming. Discretion with regards to traffic enforcement is the foundation of a good traffic enforcement program. What troopers traditionally do, we don't want to handcuff them into just a black and white enforcement. We want them to have that leverage, that latitude to decide on the roadside who should get the ticket and who should not. So in most cases, you're going to find that the troopers are going to take into account the circumstances surrounding that motor vehicle stop. And they ultimately will make the decision whether you'll get a summons or a warning.
Under New Jersey's fresh law, the use of an electronic communication device while operating a motor vehicle is a primary offense, resulting in a fine of $100. However, points will not be assessed to the violator. Hands-free phoning is allowed under the law. Captain Delafabe elaborates on the distinction.
The simplest way to describe it is a handheld device. If it's something that's going to occupy either one of your hands, left or right, then it's illegal. Bluetooth's okay, that's fine, but if you have that device in your hand, either texting, listening, or talking, that's when you are at the mercy of being pulled over and possibly being issued a summons.
There are very few states as proactive in roadway safety as is New Jersey. To date, only 5 of the 50 states have a law against the cell phone action. Horrid statistics drove drunk driving, speeding, and seatbelt laws, and it is very likely that the same will happen for the use of handheld phones. If there is a decrease in the reported crashes and fatalities within Jersey, the state might just be deemed a role model, resulting in other state governors signing at the X. This has been Steph Chartel for Channel 20 News at Rider. We hope that you are safe in your cell phone decisions and that you use smart discretion. For the safety of yourself and your surrounding community, please pull to the side of the road if use of a handheld device is necessary.
Brian Pawelko and Danielle Phillips are running to become Rider's next SGA President. Sean Rainey has more about the candidates.
Every spring, students go to the polls to vote for the next SGA president. A recent poll conducted by the News at Rider showed housing to be a major issue. Both candidates talked about how they will try to make the housing situation better.
Some of the priorities need to be changed. I think we need to look at next year how the housing policy is done. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to change, that student government will be able to change itself, because at the end of the day, the administration does what they want. But I think it's important to have a leader that's going to stand up and fight for student opinion and not take it, as the Rider News called, a rubber stamp, in which I agree with. So I had a committee this year that looked into the housing policy, and this committee wanted to find what was the aftermath of it, how did it occur, and how can we prevent it for future years. And I think whatever we do next year, I think we need to keep the committee system that I started as vice president.
Housing obviously has become an issue, which is something that the administration should have seen. However, I think they definitely recognized their mistake and did the best they could in the amount of time they had to correct it. However, it wasn't the best that it could be. As for the lottery part of it, I mean, I think the number system seemed to work fairly well, but I think with the pods, you know, you really have to, instead of doing 4 and 5, you have to go in as 9. So to go in as groups as 4 and 5 was probably very confusing, especially for the first year, but I think we're going to all live and learn as we go. So I think improvements can definitely be made in the future.
The survey said about 80% of students are still undecided. I asked the candidates why someone should vote for them.
Well, I definitely think that I have an edge over my opponent because I'm very organized. I have developed over my leadership time with student government different ways to communicate effectively with students, and of course always looking for more creative ways. And most importantly, when it comes to communication, I'm a very good listener.
I've been involved with student government for 2 years. I started out when I was a sophomore as the public relations chair. Last year I ran for the position of SGA Vice President and won, and I've served this academic year as the Vice President. I've been, one of my main jobs as the Vice President is presiding over the Student Senate, and throughout the year I think the Senate has accomplished a lot of things. The administration is going to fix the potholes that are on the roads and also pave some of the streets over the upcoming summer.
To find out more information about the candidates, students can visit their Facebook groups online. This has been Sean Rainey, Channel 20, News at Rider.
Elections for all SGA positions take place in the SRC lobby on Thursday, April 7th.
Rider students on both the Lawrenceville and Princeton campus majoring in fine and performing arts are now going to be able to come together under the same department. Garrett Williams has more with the story.
Rider has come a long way with its prestigious history of the arts on both the Westminster and the Lawrenceville campus. But what hasn't changed is the integration among students traveling back and forth from each campus. But with the new college, the Westminster School of Fine and Performing Arts, students of the same major from either campus can learn together.
We've created a new college called the Westminster College of the Arts. And within that will be Westminster Choir College. And the Fine Arts Department here in Lawrenceville is going to grow into a School of Fine and Performing Arts.
There has been one goal in mind since the beginning of the Rider University's relationship with the Westminster Choir College, and this new school hopes to make it happen.
What we're trying to do is no longer have entities that sit separately, but create opportunities for students and faculty to interact, to engage, and to come together to share and to learn and create a community and an atmosphere that is broader than what was originally here and what was intended by this merger that happened in 1991-92. To create the environment where the students have more opportunities, have a breadth of situations where they can experience different classes, different individuals. And hopefully, as we go along, there'll be more and more students applying to Rider who want the arts in their life.
With the new School of Fine and Performing Arts, students should remember that there are more options for the fall of 2008. This is Garrett Williams, Channel 20, News at Rider.
For more information about the Westminster School of Fine and Performing Arts, please visit the Rider University website.
And we're out of time for this week's edition of the News at Rider.
For the entire Rider University network, I'm Steph Chartel.
And I'm Gina Grasso.